Hi, I'm Chris Yonker, and I'm here with Jolie Yonker, and we are here in our home, and we've been dialoguing a bit about some of the topics that I've been encountering with the coaching that I'm doing with executives, and we've been dialoguing even about the topic of marriage and relates to not only our family, but friends of ours and things that have changed over time. And we thought, well, it might be kind of fun to get together and have a conversation, which will lead to several different videos and conversations about the topic of relationships. And before we begin, we are not experts on relationships. So that's the first thing I want to say. However, we've been together for almost 30 years.
Almost 30 years.
30 years in November, and we've been married for 25 years. That one I know right away because I know the 25th is coming up.
That's
so
right. Big one.
Yeah, big one. So it's kind of hard to imagine that we've been together for 30 years.
More than half our lives.
Yeah, more than half our lives.
Way more than that.
Yeah. So, why don't we talk about like your philosophy around development, if you don't mind, at least from your perspective.
I mean, my perspective, so personal development was something that Chris was always passionate about, and if you've been following him for a while, you know that. I was a little later to the game. Not that education wasn't important to me, but as I dove in a little bit, I was always about authenticity and being who I am, and almost to a fault maybe. So rounding out the edges, but also just trying to become the best version of me that I could be. So at one point in time, it was in education. Eventually it turned into yoga training and leadership and mentorship programming, becoming the best yoga student I could be, which then lends itself to being the best teacher that I could become. And that spills into so many different areas of your life, particularly like yoga off the mat is a big thing. How you present yourself to the world, how you present yourself to your spouse, to your partner, to your family, to your coworkers or employees. So it's just one of those things that I think is important to everybody, and hopefully at some point along the path, well, you're here, so you'll find that.
And I think you brought up present yourself, and I think it's, because I know you well enough, I'm going to insert a frame on that, because someone might think, well, I got to present myself this way over here, and this way over here,
right? No,
and this way over here.
No, yeah, that's a challenge. It's the Instagram world of curating your life and how you present yourself to others. No,
right.
It's important to always be 100% authentically you, because the people who will show up and stick around and appreciate that are your people. And so that's just kind of how I've always made my way through the world, for better or worse.
And that actually is, for us, an anchor. And as we have these discussions, and we're going to go into, we'll give you a sampling of some of the discussions that we're going to have. One of the things that you'll find from the beginning, one of the things, probably the first things we'll talk about is values and vision, because those must be in parallel. And if they're not, you're screwed. I mean, I don't have any way around it, but you are going to be screwed if your vision and your values aren't in parallel. And I almost used a different word. But I thought about it. I guess I could, but regardless, the one thing that we share is this sense of authenticity. And it's kind of interesting, because if Jolie's not being authentic, or I'm not being authentic, then we will almost like activate a level of annoyance.
That was exactly what I was thinking.
Right? And then you're going to be annoyed, or I'm going to be annoyed, and I'm like, and the other person may not be aware of it. Typically, if we're inauthentic, it's maybe we're like in a damage control situation where we don't want to be authentic, so we might piss someone off, but then we're not sure like internally what to do. So
fortunately, that's few and far between.
I'm not going to rationalize the situations, but it's really strong for us. So we don't do really well with inauthentic people. We don't do really well with people that don't have transparency. Our friends that we hold close and dear to us. It's really pretty kind of cool, because if Jolie meets someone or I meet someone, I know she likes them. Like at this point, it's almost
Like
no check. It's like a check. Like, okay, good. Yeah, like, you dude, I'd like to meet that person. This sounds pretty cool to me. And then that's good enough, because I know if they're vibing with her energy and her philosophy in life, then they're going to vibe with mine. So we've done a lot of personal development together, and collective, individually, but also collectively. Like, we were just 2 years ago, we were with Deepak Chopra for a good part of a week. That was awesome. So anyway, we'll talk about some of that stuff. Some of the topics that we want to talk about are arguing. That'll be fun. Maybe we'll even have an argument, and anyway. So that's an interesting one.
And that's an important one, because there are people who won't speak their truth, or are afraid of rocking the boat, or ruffling feathers within their relationship, whether it's a new relationship or an older relationship. And those relationships are on a bit of shaky ground if you can't have a discussion, and maybe the discussion elevates a little bit, but there's got to be a resolution.
Right. Yeah, and that's we both grew up in homes that manage that differently, which oftentimes, you think about it, being a couple, where do you learn to do that anyway? Like being a parent.
Right.
So we're going to talk about we'll talk about romance, their having or lack of, I guess, per se. We'll talk about decision making, which is an important one. How do you decide to do stuff or not to do stuff, and when is it okay for someone to make a decision without someone else's? I think there's some questions around that. And maybe we'll even talk about women's rights. That would be interesting. That's interesting, because to me it should be equal rights, but there's a pendulum. I think anytime society moves something, the pendulum swings
so far in the other direction.
And so anyway, that could be maybe we won't have anyone watching our videos after that one. I don't know.
But we're raising a daughter.
Yeah.
So it's an important topic, how you send your child out into the world, because we want her to be this strong, independent, resilient, responsible kid moving into young adulthood, moving into full-on adulthood, and knowing what she's stepping into in this world as it shifts and changes, and how we can best prepare her. So, that touches on that a little bit.
Yeah, that's accurate. And then I think balance could be a really cool, interesting topic.
And counterbalance, like where it falls in.
And I've lived, way out of balance for quite a while in our relationship, and it created a lot of strain in our relationship. So we can talk about that, because quite frankly, I see a lot of folks that are business owners and executives that are big drivers, really creating a lot of risk in their relationships and may not be aware. And then when they do become aware, it's like, holy shit, now what do I do? And then I think the other topic could be just support. How do I support you? How do you support me? How do we support one another? Hey, I'm not saying our way is the way, but potentially, if nothing else, I think as we kind of close out on this particular video is that if we could get you to think maybe differently about what you're thinking now, right? And ask maybe some questions that you're not asking now, and potentially make a behavior change or two that you could benefit from, then that to me would be highly, highly worthwhile. And I guess lastly, you don't like it when I make that noise either. Yeah, I just noticed that. Like, I just made that noise, and I know, like, she doesn't care for that too much. So, but we won't edit it, because, whatever. I make that noise. I think I would ask, if you watch this up till now, hey, you got something you want to, a thought on a topic that you think would be interesting, go ahead and share that with us. You can send it to me through my website at chris@chrisyonker.com, and we'll go from there. And this will be fun as we're getting closer to Valentine's Day. I think this would be an interesting time to explore several topics that impact two people, not just one person. So with that, thanks for watching. For more information, go to www.chrisyonker.com. That's CHRISYONKER.com.